Hi everyone, this is Garrison of Iron Kingdoms at War, and this is part 2 of making an Iron Kingdoms style house for Warmachine. You can see we've got the basic structure done from part 1 of the video. 2-inch blue insulation foam, pink foam, blue foam, but pink foam would also be okay. Now the first thing I want to show you is that I have measured off about 1.5 inches to 2 inches high a line around the edge of this building with a red pen. And that's important because we're going to put some wooden framing there. There's kind of a separation between the different facades of the building. So all the way around, you mark about 1.5 inches or 2 inches high, depending on your preference, a line we're going to kind of separate with some timber framing. Some details we're going to add to the house later. Now we're going to talk about applying doors and windows to this house. Now doors and windows, really, are just going to be pieces of card or cardboard from like a cereal box. And we're going to apply the door first. Now the door, again, is a piece of cardboard. I marked this door because the windows that are back here ready to go, some of them are a little different size than the door naturally, and so I wanted to keep it straight. When you mark some of these, make sure that you, if you want to mark them, not that you have to, don't use a ballpoint pen or a pencil, because what's going to happen is that's going to inscribe some things on the cardboard that later could show up in the finished project. So use a felt tip pen if you feel a need to mark these, as I did. Anyway, for applying pieces to a building like this, like flat pieces like the cardboard or small pieces like the matchstick wooden frames, which could also be balsa wood, which we're going to use, I like to use Weld Bond glue or any white glue. Weld Bond's my favorite. But for doing that, I like to use glue. I just get a scrap piece of cardboard or whatever, put a dab of glue, and then I use an old paintbrush that I can spare. Because a paintbrush is a great way to apply white glue to things, and you can even usually save the paintbrush because it will, white glue will wash out of a paintbrush just like paint would, so because it's water soluble. So I'm going to apply some glue to the back of this door. And then I'm going to apply it to the front of the building as so. Okay, now one thing I need to do is this door is going to need a frame. So I used small, they're called matchsticks, craft matchsticks. You could also use balsa wood. And I pre-cut the frames, as you can see from all the other pieces up here, to be ready to go around these cardboard pieces for the doors and windows. So first thing I'm going to do is apply this frame on the left side. Oh, guess what? I didn't put enough glue on there, so that's a good lesson for everybody. I was too sparing with the glue, and my door lasted for about 15 seconds. A little embarrassing, but you know what? That's the beauty of terrain building. Nothing has to be exact, and there are, in most cases, do-overs. So there we go. Stay on their door. Okay, so now I'm going to apply the frame. Same thing, I'm going to use the paintbrush to get the glue on, because otherwise it's going to be all over this little piece of wood. Okay, I gotta make sure I get enough on there for a good stick, so I don't have what just happened with the door. Okay, and I apply the frame right next to the door like that. You're going to notice there's a little overhang, because there's another piece of wood going up there. So let's get that on next. Getting my glue on. And I'm going to place that pre-cut piece right in the top of the door like that. And then I am going to apply the other frame on the other side. And there we have some last second corrections. Our door with the frame. We're going to put some wooden detailing over this board later, so it's not going to be just a plain empty space. I mean, if you wanted just an empty access to your building, like a hole, that would be fine, but we're going to put some detailing on here, which we'll talk about later. Let me just show you real quick how the window works. It's basically the same idea. We're going to put a window. I like the window to be that red line that I drew earlier, where we're going to put some timber framing. I like the window to definitely go up above that line, just for effect. It'll look prettier later on if we do that. So I'm going to put the window about there, and I'm going to have my frames ready to go around the side. And we're going to put the, you do the same thing in applying the window. And I don't think I'm going to show that in the video, nor the other two windows on the other two sides, because, yeah, not really necessary. You get the idea by now. And I want to move on to the framing, so we'll do that next. Okay, welcome back. As you can see now, I've got all of the windows and doors with their frames on them around. And the back, I put kind of a wider kind of window just for a different look. But you can see basically all of that work is done. Now we need to go on to brickwork, which is really the fun part and the part that's going to give this building a lot of character. Now what we need to make sure that you realize is that the brickwork is done really with just a number 2 pencil, any pencil really, but not a mechanical pencil. You want a regular wooden pencil. So we're going to inscribe the brickwork on this house, and it's rather easy. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pick an edge, and I'm going to decide, you know, how many kind of rows I want of bricks vertically. Now it's not really important how bricks are carved this way, but I do want an even number of rows around the house to build kind of the foundation of this house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick that edge. I'm going to decide, well, I want about 4 rows of bricks. So I'm just going to mark, kind of create 4 rows with 3 kind of evenly spaced marks. I'm going to kind of carry this around the building. So the first thing I do to get started is I take my pencil and I pick one of those points. I basically just inscribe a line. It doesn't have to be perfect. These are bricks. This building is old. It's settling unevenly over time. But I've basically got my 4 lines there, which is the beginning of my brickwork. Now to make these look like bricks and not just 4 lines, we're going to need to start inscribing some bricks. So with your nice and sharpened pencil, you can make some vertical lines and start to create the brick pattern as such. Now these are a little too uniform. You know, they look pretty decent, but we're going to add some irregularities. Maybe we have 2 bricks wedged in this one slot. So we do something like that. Maybe this one I want an extra brick here because we want, again, some irregularity. I'm going to double make this into 2 bricks. Now once that you've got that done, where you've got your basic pattern with bricks in there, what we're going to do is take a duller pencil than the one you're using and get in those crevices and accentuate them a little bit. And the simple way to do that is just kind of go around the pattern and just kind of continue that engraving. Just take this dull pencil and go around and around in these crevices, and then they'll start to show up even more, and they'll be accentuated even further. So that's kind of the plan, and that's what you do.